Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's episode is going to be on the Rockslide. We're going to go through the first round of upgrades with it. We're going to have wheels and tires, JConcepts Tusks. They're the full 7.13 inch tires, 2.9 inch Pro-Line beadlock wheels, and Team Revolt 3D printed inserts. We also have the front weights from Redcat, a Fusion 8, the full one, so we can get that 8.4 volts and get some more wheel speed. We don't really need it, but I think it'd be nice to have when trailing, kind of messing around. And then to go along with the wheels and tires, we have I put together like a little kit of the hexes and everything from an SCX6 to adapt this. I also might be having to swap over the servo for the selectable underdrive. The stock one, when you put 8.4 volts on it, can get a little hot and you might not like it. So I do have the one I can only find. I could have sworn I had some more. I have this Endura 2065. It can go up to 8.4 volts. The mini servo in there right now. This is a micro, so I'll probably have to make an adapter for it. But I have no problem with this in my 1/10 doing dig and stuff like that. So I'm hoping this will be fine. But also the Vertex 6 comes stock with a micro servo. So I don't think we're going to have an issue there. I'm going to install it and see how that servo acts. I don't know. Maybe it'll be fine. I don't know what it is. I haven't even looked to see what this is a model on it. See if I can find any kind of info on it at all. We'll see what we can do. I'm going to start out with the wheels because I've been excited and wanting to get those on there for a while. And while I have the front wheels off, I will be putting the weights on, kind of thing. So let's start with this. It's a 2mm hex to get the nuts off of the center hub cover there. And this is where some people seem to have an issue, at least on the Redcats that I've seen. This is on so tight they have to use an impact. I took off the wheel a couple times just to check things, make sure everything works, and I didn't have to. So let's see how this goes. It was tight, but definitely didn't need an impact. Got that. So next thing you got to do is inside here is a set screw, and that's how it keeps the pin in. I'm actually just going to use the ones out of the kit because I don't remember what size it is. Yeah, it is this one. Okay. I think this would be like an M2.5. No, this is probably a 3, actually. 2.5, I was right the first time. So now I have that ready. And then this pin comes out. You just push it through. And then this comes off. So this is the stock hex. And the reason that we need to swap it out is because SCX6 wheels only have, I think it's like a 4mm, 5mm hole through for the hex. So you can't get it to go through. To adapt this, you get SCX6 hexes, which can go on there, no problem. You need to get some M5 pins, pin bolts. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but I'll have all this linked down below. And then you need M5 grub, like a long set screw. I originally had bought, I think, 25mm. Yeah, I had originally bought 25mm because I could have sworn that's what people said online to get. Then I realized they actually do like 16 to 20mm. I got 16mm ones, and when I tested this earlier, when I first got all this stuff to make sure, it seemed like 16 is going to be perfect. And then you also need to get some M5 nuts for the wheels. Okay, so I'll have all this linked down below so it's easy to grab. Oh, you also need, where did I put them? Shims. 8mm? Yeah, 8mm shims. You need to shim it because there's a lot of space in between the hex and the bearing. All right, I ended up putting 4.5mm shims behind here, and it's almost perfect. There's not too much pressure on the bearing, but it also doesn't have a lot of slack still. So about 2mm of spacing here. I'll do 2mm on there, and then I'm guessing it's going to be the same, and we'll see how the front is. So I'm going to add a dab of purple Loctite to this. Not much. It gets held on by the hex of the wheel anyways, so I'm not too worried about getting backing out. But just to be safe. All right, now the other thing you have to do is you have to drill out this for 8mm here because it does not fit. So let's actually, before I do that, we'll put in the stub. Again, I'm just putting a dab of Loctite on here. This what gives us our thread to put on the wheel. I'm just going to use a step bit and go up to 5/16. Let's see here. Yeah, this third one up. And let's see if this goes on. And we are good to go. And even with this 16 millimeter set screw, I still have like 3 millimeters sticking out or so. So I don't know why you would want it any longer. Maybe depending on, I mean, if you have a thicker hex, if you're going to do like any kind of a widening hex, you're going to want a longer grub screw. But other than that, I mean, really, why do you want it sticking out? You know? Oh, there we go. It took me a minute. These wheels came with little hubcaps. Honestly, I don't know how long they're going to last, but it makes it look a little better. That's nice. I'm liking the green and the blue. I honestly bought the blue because they were the only ones on sale, but not bad. So I'm going to do the other 3, so I will be right back. Okay, so I got all these 3 done. I'm also just realizing that I put that one should be on the front here. So let me show you real quick these tires. I was going to show you on the last one because I thought I had it planned out right to be here to show you putting this one on, but I did. These are the Pro-Line Steelie. It's like a stamped steel face, aluminum ring, plastic back here. Like everything behind it is plastic ring, plastic clamp, everything. These are Team Revolt designed 3D printed inserts. This is when I was dialing in the temp settings a little bit on this one still. So it's a little bit of fuzzies. It actually printed the outside way better than the inside, even though this is 87A and this is 95A. Whatever, fine. So I already took the obnoxiously hard foam out of these. It's meant for an SCX6, but still, I don't understand how you can have such a thick, hard foam. I get that the truck's heavier, but that's crazy. I mean, maybe if I had an SCX6, I'd understand. But to install these, I usually kind of, crunch them up like a half moon. Shove these in here, and this is a thick carcass, so it's a little rough. And then I just kind of put my hands in and twist it as I go, make sure it's all seated. And yeah, perfect fit. Now we want to make sure we get this in right, because I don't know how many times I've installed a tire and realized I had the wrong direction, because this is the last one to do. So there is no just popping it to the other side. So this goes this way, so we want the face this way. Now what I've been doing with these, I actually mounted the first one I did dry, just because I was curious. But I usually, on the harder ones, use bubble juice. And I will lather it up pretty good. I need to get like some kind of a brush of some sort. But I just coat this whole bead, coat the inside of the bead where it connects to the ring. Look at that, it slid right in there. This is a thick bead though. A lot of people have issues mounting these wheels in tires in general. Like the people will say you need to get the JConcepts ring, I think. I haven't had to do anything. These mounted. It is rough. I'm not gonna lie, but it does mount. Got that. Comes with all the bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I said it comes with all the bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Well, I just went on an adventure trying to find the 6th bolt, because it takes 6 to bead lock this, and I only have 5. I could not tell you where this 6th one is. I thought maybe when I dumped the bolts out because I accidentally spilled it, that it went flying. I don't see where else it would have gone right here. So I'm gonna put the 5 in, then I'll get a 6th bolt. I'm sure I have some bolts somewhere. Anyways, to install these, I showed you the bubble juice on the front. I get a M3 ready to go, and this is a longer bolt than what comes with these. This is the trick that I use to get these installed. Lather up this side too, just like we did the other. Really should get like a brush or something. And then you really want to try to make sure this is centered in the bead like it's supposed to be. Try to center this as much as you can, facing those bolt holes. And then push this down through. This bolt's long enough where it'll touch, even not with the halves not touching. So, and then I just kind of start it and push down. I can't find a second bolt of this, so I've just been pulling this down just enough to get these like 2 bolts in, and then I'll jump to the other side. So that one's there. And then I'm going to put the one next to it in. So now that I got those two in, I'm going to take that out and pop it to the other side. And now get this side going. Now I'll get these other ones in. Can I just not math? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm either blind or I don't know how to count. But I had all 6 here the whole time. So I need to take out this one, the big bolt. This is when I like to do it by hand. Even if you did do an actual impact, I really like to just tighten these ones down the rest of the way by hand. Also, I vented these 4 corners just because it's a bigger tire. So, all right, let's turn this thing around and get that last one in. All right, guys, got all 4 on. I would like to say that I did this on purpose, but I accidentally forgot to put the weights on when I did the fronts. But this kind of gives us a good opportunity to weigh each corner and see how much of a difference this makes. I'm pretty sure other people have done this already, obviously, on YouTube, but I haven't for my truck. We have a weird weight going on here. This one right here, front left, 1853, right front 2059, 1599, and 1694. Those are not even close to 50-50 side to side, which is odd because there's nothing different. I have a battery in here that I usually run my 3S5200 right in the center. I don't use the left and right sides. Nothing else has been added to this. So there, I wonder if there's a shock thing going on. So anyways, let's do the math real quick for the front to rear. So total is 7205. These are grams, by the way. Front was 3912, rear was 3293. That's approximately a 54% weight bias. At least it's over 50%, but we're going to see if we can get it closer to 60. I still don't understand why the corners are so far off. I mean, they're not crazy off. I mean, the rear's off by 100 grams. The front's off by 200 almost. It's got to be some kind of a shock thing or something. Let's get rid of these scales for now and throw the weight hangers on the front. All right, got the Redcat weight hangers. PER 41398. I'll put all this in the description anyways, but just so you know. These are pretty beefy. And I feel like these are like regular, like a stainless. I don't think they're tungsten or anything. I'm just going to put all the weight on, honestly. I don't see the need to only put a couple in. If I got them, I'm going to use them. And you know what I just realized? I hope they fit behind these wheels. I didn't check that. So we might be finding this out together, guys. I'm going to, since these are going to be out in the, out kind of in the open-ish, I'm going to put a dab of Loctite on these. Just a small little scotch. And when you put these in, all you got to do is put this screw in and it just holds them. It holds 2 of them at a time, just like that. They won't fall out. They kind of rattle around. Kind of weird. You would think they'd make it a little bit bigger so they wouldn't do that. Can you hear that in the mic? But whatever. All they had to do is make it a little taller. All right, let's toss this on. Yeah, I totally spaced it till I was almost done with this one, and then I realized that I never put it on. And I'm really hoping that these are going to fit behind here. You go like this, right? Yeah, look at that. That's like perfect fit. All right, moment of truth, guys. It's a good amount of space back there, so I think these ones are going to be fine. This has got a big ring. Feels good, but this tightens it up. This tightens it up a bit more to the hex. So let's see. No, it just barely is touching the wheel. Okay, it is rubbing so little. It's literally just this corner here. In here probably. No, one of the corners was rubbing more than the other. But can you see in there? Yeah, see that shiny spot? That's what's rubbing. I don't want to shave down the plastic. I think it would be okay, but I would rather shave just this corner down and this corner down. Unless I can see which one. I'll put it back on and see if I can see. I meant to do that. I took it off. But I'm going to shave one of these corners down, I think. And hopefully it'll fit. Because I really don't want to shave the plastic down and make it weaker. It's already a good amount of force on this. With this bigger tire and the big lip and all that. So I'd rather shave this down. A lot of people shave their wheels down. But I'm thinking these are $26, I think. If I end up ruining this, which I highly doubt I'm going to ruin shaving these corners down, I'm not going to ruin a set of wheels. Usually wheels could be 75 to 100 bucks for a starter set. I got these on clearance for like 60 bucks, 50 bucks. So I'm not too worried, but I also don't want to have to buy another set. So I'll be right back. I'm going to grind off this corner, whichever one's hitting, and I'll let you know. I had finished off the weights, put the wheel back on. I was about to go to the next thing and realized I had the mic off of me. So I have to redo this. All I had to do was trim off this corner, kind of like bevel it out. I didn't have to do the outside here. It's mostly here, and the edge wrapping to about the bolt here. So you can see where the silver is to there, the silver to there, and then this edge. And I just shaved it down until they cleared, and now they both clear completely fine. I don't think I lost too much, maybe a few grams or so. So I'm okay with that. Now they fit perfectly fine. No rubbing. Nope. The hexes are, the plastic to the metal brass hex are quite tight. And there you go. See, now it's loose. Oop, little cap on. We are good to go. I had also weighed the truck to see the difference. We were at 54% front weight bias. We're now at 57% front weight bias. We went from 7205 total to 7670. So we went up about 465 grams. And also when I weighed it this time, it was a little more even left to right. So maybe it was just where the springs were settling or something, because it was 1612, 1617, 2207, and 2234. So pretty close. 4,441 front, 3,229 rear. So we went up 3% for weight bias. If I really need to add some more, I am going to take the wheels apart, and where that big groove is in the center of that beadlock ring, I'll put some wheel weights in there if I need to. I don't know. I haven't seen any. I haven't looked around. I don't think they make any brass knuckles or brass anything yet for this. So I'll probably end up sticking with that unless they come out with something else. So wheels are in, tires are in, weights are on. On to the next thing. All right, now I've got the wheels on, tires on, weights on. Next thing I wanted to do was show you guys something. I was actually going to show you this at the beginning, and I forgot. I have two designs up on Maker World. Well, one's up there. This other one, the other one should be up before the video comes out. I made some rock sliders to help protect the body. One of the big things that kind of annoyed me was this was hitting all the time, which I don't mind if it was more solid, I guess. It was scratching it up a ton. Didn't look good. It would flop around. The back of this was chipping a little bit. So I made these sliders that fit really good to the skid and go all the way out to the body. So it should help protect it there, left and right. Up on Maker World, I'm also going to put them on my website. So if anyone's in the United States, I can ship them to you. If it's outside the United States, as far as like shipping, and the shipping last I tried to do was ridiculous. So hopefully you got a friend over there that has a printer. They can print them for you. But yeah, seem like they're going to be pretty solid. So hopefully, I haven't been able to test them yet, as you can see. Hopefully tomorrow. I'm not sure. The other thing is, I don't mind body clips, but if I can hide them, I really try to. So on my smaller trucks, not that you can see any because this behemoth is in front of it, I do magnets a lot of times. I don't like to do magnets on the bigger trucks because you have to have some huge magnets to kind of hold the bodies down because they're so much heavier. They go flying a lot of times, a lot more because of the weight. And so I try to hide the clips when I can, like I said. So I designed a clip kind of like the Redcat one. So on this side, it doesn't really matter what side, I have a clip. And you pull this pin out and you can lift it up. So you got this piece, and this piece. You use the stock bolts on these sides. Holds it pretty solid. And then this brace is just to help in and out because this bumper is not, it's something, but it's definitely not a brace of any sort. It's pretty flexible. And then also when this is the piece that's up here, which you guys can kind of see right here, is the width of this. So it definitely helps also as far as bracing when it's all together. And then this pin just goes through. And then you put the pin up through like this. But this is way easier to do when you're not trying to do it on camera. So watching me struggle like this, don't worry, it's not like that in real life. And then you can just pop the pin off, pull it back out, and you're good to go. And it flops right in. It has two little plastic washers that I designed and you print to hold the bolts here. These bolts were actually the ones that held So when this is in here, it goes like this. These bolts here are the ones that were in here to hold this together. You could use these for this, but I didn't have any button cap M4 bolts, and I wanted to have it nice and kind of smooth as possible here. And I had some socket caps, and I put those in here because you don't see them in there. They're tucked inside to hold this brace. So you got that, and then you slide the pin in, nice and smooth, and then clip it up from underneath. Now I know this isn't going to be for everyone. This was more just a me thing. And like I said, this is way easier when you're not trying to aim it at a camera. It's usually kind of holding this and putting this pin in. But I just, if I can, like I said, if I can avoid clips on the outside, I just think it looks a little better. It's not a big deal. So those are going to both be up on Maker. The rock sliders are on there now. This one will be up hopefully today. I just haven't put the profiles together to just throw up on there. And also, like I said, that'll be up on my website that I'll have a link below. So if you want to buy it, if you don't have a printer. So I print everything on our season PETG, because if I leave a truck in the vehicle on a sunny, hot day, it'll start warping if it's PLA. PETG doesn't warp as easy. And so I don't usually do any carbon fiber stuff. I don't have my printer ventilated or anything. PETG has been completely fine for me. So I just been running with that. Not an issue. So I was going to do it at the beginning, actually, and I totally forgot. I totally spaced it. So that's not really a mod that we're doing today, but yeah, like I said, and it's just the stock. I've been using the stock bolts for this so far. You should get probably bolts that are like 4 millimeters or probably 5 millimeters longer. But the stock bolts went in and grabbed no problem. Putting them in even with an impact, but technically you should probably do something like 4 or 5 millimeters longer if you really want to be safe. So there's that. So let me pull this pin back out that I just put back in. Because the next thing I want to do is the ESC. There we go. Put my foam yoga block there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this whole transmission. It's going to be way easier that way. So let me pull that, and then I will tell you what's needed to pull it. It looks like I need to, easiest way, take this cross brace out, and then take the bolts out from the bottom, and I think this should just pop right out, and I should be able to kind of take it out from underneath the battery brace, which I should probably just take this out anyways. I was trying to weigh it earlier, so I was trying to see what it looks like with it on. Another thing that I don't know, I said it in the review, is a file for this on Maker World. It's a taller receiver cover, so it doesn't squish and mash the wires that stock for some reason I thought was a good idea. So let me pull this apart real quick, and I'll be back and let you know what it takes. All right, so it is just like I thought. So I ended up taking this off, which is 2 screws here, and there's 2 screws on the other side. I have my rock light mounted to one of them, but yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. This comes off. You need to take your receiver cover off so you can get your ESC wire out. On this side is the spot for the switch, so you just take those 2 screws out, and you can take the switch out. I took the cross brace out here. It's bolt here, comes right out. These were 2.0, 2.0, 2.0 as far as the hex size. Then on here, I just took my pliers and just popped it off the ball for the servo, because I don't need to actually disconnect anything else. I'm just going to be using all this anyways. So just pop it off instead of unscrewing the servo. I'm going to try that one first. Then on the bottom of the skid here, there's like 2 screws about here and 2 screws right about here, and that's a 2.5 millimeter hex that I just threw on the drill. Some big countersunk bolts. And then this should just pop off. I think that was all I took out. Yep. And I'm going to leave the drive shafts connected, just because why mess with it. That really got some grease. All right, and just like I thought, it is those 1, 2, 3 bolts, and this just comes right off. So if you didn't want to pull the transmission out, if you move the servo, you could probably just pop it right out from there. Maybe even be able to mess with it going over the servo. Like I said, obviously I haven't tried it because I took the whole thing out. So 2 bolts to take the motor off. Should have took the pinion off first. Didn't even think about it. That is on there. So I'm going to turn on my soldering iron and try to heat that up. So what I usually do with pinions, because they put a ton of Loctite a lot of times on these bigger trucks, I just take my soldering iron first. I get the solder off of it. There we go. And I just put it on the right on the grub screw. Just let it sit there and kind of feel the pinion. See if it gets, yep, this one's getting up to temp. So, and sometimes you'll see a little bit of smoke coming out of it. Just like a little, because it's heating up the grease and it's heating up the Loctite and everything. If this doesn't work, you could also use like a mini torch, maybe like a lighter or something, but this is no flame, so not necessary. All right, that's been a good minute or so, and I can still see a little bit of smoke, and it's getting pretty hot in my hand. There we go. Still pretty rough, but not bad. Definitely red Loctite in there. I don't know if you guys can see it. All right, got that off. As of right now, I have a possible trade for this to get two 1200 kV SEs, and for me that works good because I have some straight axle builds coming up that could definitely benefit from that. So if not, I was going to maybe go into the Helium and then the Helium full 8 go to something else that's bigger, a couple products over the winter. So got the full Fusion 8 right here. That is a little bit of no, actually it feels this. It feels bigger, but it is not. It is physically the same size. Okay. It was supposed to be these right here because they definitely stick out a bit. So I just kind of felt like that in my hand. That was different. But yeah, got that going. Now, the only thing that kind of sucks about this is this goes in this direction. So you kind of have to guess on the mesh. But I think if I take off this half of the transmission, I might be able to check it out. All right. If you take off this screw, and this screw, which this is longer than these two, so just remember that because it's got to go all the way in there. This front nose section comes off. Just watch out. There's a pin that holds that. There we go. There's a pin in there that holds that gear. Put that to the side. Push that back in. Now we will be able to put this back together, and then we can check mesh. One thing I wanted to check when. Yeah, see, I need to go a little lower. So I wanted to see where my height, where my pinion was. Okay, so to check the mesh, you can put this back into here. And as you can see, I am, there you go, I'm too tall. So I'm going to pull that down. Well, that is about perfect there. All right, so after taking this thing apart and messing around with it a little bit, I took the slipper clutch apart. And mine was already tightened all the way. I haven't had any slipping, so I'm not going to glue it like other people have been doing because it's been fine for me. I would take the whole transmission out. Then I would take off these 3 bolts here. There we go. I would take off this bolt, and this one, which is a longer one. Take that off here. Watch out for that bearing in there. Take this off. Take that pin out. Then you can undo these 3 bolts here. Take the motor plate off. Then you'll have this separate with this spur and everything and slipper. Then you can take the 5mm pinion out. Then you can drop the motor off of the shaft, put the new motor back on. When you go to put the motor back on, you got to try to clock it this way. Yeah, to the side. There's 2 sets of M3 mounts. One puts it straight up and down or straight down. You don't want that because the skid's there. You don't want this because the battery tray's there. You have to clock it to the side here. You could technically go down to the bottom this way, but then I don't want the wires. No, because you can't. I don't think because you get the link right there. But this is about where the stock one was. Let's see here. Yep, that's like where the stock one was. Tighten that down, and then this way you can check the mesh. This looks really good right now, as far as I can tell. The only movement I see is actually from this gear, and I'm moving it on the pin, so I think I'm fine. And then we're going to take the transmission, pop that back on, get this screw in, and it's now back together. Well, there we go. Just as noisy as it was before. It's way noisier out here, and I'm sure on the mic it picks it up a lot better too than it is in the truck, but it hasn't changed since I took it out. So I did pop this cover off. I think I have a video of it. I'll put it right here. So actually, I might take apart this and see how greased it is in there real quick. So I'm going to take this cap off the end here. It is actually pretty greased in there. Be careful when you pull this apart. There's a lot of parts. Just remember that because you have the selector shaft and everything. Looks like it's some kind of thin grease-ish, but it's not bad. I think it's just noisy just because it's Mod 1 type gears. They're just kind of noisy, but I'll add a little bit extra in there. But no, not too worried about it. All right, and then I kind of had to hook this around this gear to get it in and out. To get it out, so I'm probably gonna yep, same. Hey, we're back together. No different. To pop this back in is going to be opposite of removal. I like to not take these off if I don't have to. Then I have to deal with the pins if they are in there like crazy and they don't want to get removed. You're not going to have to worry about these lights more than likely. Pop this through here. Try to phase this shaft. Well, not phase the shaft. These fall into, they have like holes that they go into on the skid. So really nice there. Next, going to toss in the bottom bolts. Got all those in. And we're going to pop the selector on before I forget. That servo might be getting swapped out. I'm not sure. I'm going to see what the 8.4 volts does first, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to put this cross brace in. I'll zip tie these all up later when I'm done. Transmission's in, motors in, drive shafts are phased. I'm going to toss this back in, but I'm actually going to, I like it here, but if you move it around in this box, the button can get stuck. I'll put a little double-sided tape, so when I tighten it up onto here, it has to stay in place. It's got a little bit of double-sided tape on there. I'm going to start this screw lightly and start this one lightly. Yep, make sure we're centered. And tighten it down. And hopefully that will help hold it. So then if you're plugging it in here over and over, it won't do anything. It is going to bulge this out a little bit, but I'm not worried about it. If you are, then I don't know what to tell you. Don't do what I'm doing. Maybe put a little hot glue on the edges or something. But now it doesn't move around on me. I am going to be plugging in the ESC to the receiver, but I don't plan on adjusting the drag brake. So I'm just going to leave it unplugged because I don't have an extra channel on the Dumbo remote. Okay, I had to look back. They do just run this wire up and over, and I didn't notice that before. So I don't feel so weird now because I was like, where am I going to put this? There's no space underneath here to put it. And all right. So that's going there. I'm going to zip tie some of these wires up though, because this is just a mess. All right, I got that all zip tied up. Hopefully this isn't too tight or anything. It should be good. I actually zip tied the antenna down through the wire too. I don't do much long range anyway, so I don't even think with the 2.4, you don't even really need it out and about as much as you used to back in the day. So I'm not too worried. Make sure you push this wire over. Also, make sure when you're zip tying the wires that you don't zip tie your servo wire into it too much, because I accidentally did that and almost was going to have a problem. I still think I might be a little too tight on it. No, actually I'm fine. Okay. Perfect. Stock, the wire kind of came out here and all about, and I just didn't really like that, but I just went right back down. It's actually zip tied in and down underneath all this. All right, we got all that back in. It looks much better all zip tied up, unlike it was stock. Stock, it was all over the place. But we are good to go. We got enough wire for the servo. Doesn't pull on anything. I don't see anything rubbing. I did notice stock, the top of the motor, I believe it was, right here, rubs on something. Honestly, I think it was the slipper every so often would catch on there. That's where the slipper goes. Weird. Yeah, nothing else was rubbing. All right, guys. All back together, cleaned up. Wires are cleaned up. Just tested it, made sure it worked, make sure it moved. Gonna turn it on, and I want to change some settings in this thing. So we got forward, reverse, RPM matching. Yep, that's fine. 2, auto. Yep. 3 is voltage cutoff. That's medium. That's fine. Thermal protection's at 105 degrees Celsius. I'm fine with that. Motor rotation is counterclockwise. Yeah, and it worked. It went the right direction. Number 6 is BEC voltage. Let's go to 3 like I wanted. I usually hit OK as I go. I don't think you have to until the end, but I just do it just to make sure I saved it. Drag brake force is 7, and that's on option 6, which is weird because this says default is option 5. I've never taken this out of the box. You guys, I'm pretty sure, saw me take the plastic off, so that's definitely different. Everything else has been factory. I'm going to try it with 6. I don't think the stock one had it all the way up either, and it was fine, so we'll keep it at 6. Number 8 is drag brake rate. That's on auto, and I believe that's because of the RPM matching. It kind of, instead of slamming it down, it, like if you're going really fast, it'll kind of slow it down and then hit drag brake. But if you're going really slow, it'll immediately put drag brake on, if I remember correctly. Yeah, in auto mode, the system adjusts the drag brake rate automatically as per the current draw. The higher the current draw, the lower the drag brake rate. It can help prevent the vehicle from flipping over. Yep. Okay. So yeah, I'm fine with that. Number 8, that was drag brake rate. 9, max reverse force. That's at 100%. I usually like to go about 75, so I'm going to go to number 3. Number 10 is max brake force, but I don't have the brakes on because it's forward reverse only. So I am not going to change that. It's at 6 default, which it looks like that is stock. Number 11 is RPM decrease rates at level 1. This refers to the speed of RPM change when reducing the throttle from high to low throttle in the normal mode. The higher the value, the faster the change. If you'd like to have a coasting feeling when the throttle is reduced, like a normal brushless system, this value needs to be set low. I'll just leave it at 1 and see, and maybe later on I'll change it. 12 on punch is 5. This is one of the things I wish I could have adjusted on the stock system. I kind of wished I had a little bit more punch to jump up and over some stuff. So 5, I might go up to like 7. And I want to go crazy, but because I want to still have that nice smooth throttle. So we'll see. I'll go to 7. 13 is neutral range, 8%. Stock is number 3. Yeah, I'm just going to keep it there, and that should be it. I'll hit OK just to make sure everything's saved. That 8.4 is what I really wanted. So far, this isn't hot, but I also don't think, I think because we were connected to that, it's not doing anything. So let me turn that on, turn this off, turn it back on. And that is probably one of the more annoying things right here to get in. I know they want to make it kind of watertight, but man, that is rough. So far, this is not getting warmer than I would expect. Seems fine. Let's see how the speed is. I like that so far. That is nice. I'm pushing down pretty good. Nice and cool. This seems not bad. It just sucks because I don't want to run it and find out there's an issue later on, you know, when I'm out on the trail. But it doesn't feel bad. I'm gonna run it like that for now. I say that, but I really, yeah, I kind of want to swap that out just to be safe. You know what? We're gonna swap it out. I'm sure I got something I can use that in. So let me go grab. I've printed an adapter while we were doing this. I found online. Let's see if it works, and we'll put that micro one in there. So I'll be right back. All right, got that servo in. It is not a good servo adapter. I found like 3 or 4, printed them. None of them are right for the bolt hole locations. I just kind of made this one work for now, just to make sure that this lines up correctly and it'll fit. So I'll be making my own adapter. I'll link it down below when I get to it. It might be a couple days though. Got some other stuff going on, but this works. It's just not ideal. Really don't like how they have the servo saver doing all the work for the endpoints. I'm going to either have to get that DDF350 Dumbo to work with this receiver, or I might just end up swapping to my radio link with an RC7. There we go, R7FG. Might just swap to that one because with the radio link. I'll lose the light controller, but I don't really care too much. I can just put the lights on a switch because I have this switch already doing the bottom lights. So that might be the best bet because I don't know if I really need another remote. I'd like to try out the Dumbos though. We will see. I think that's it for this one. I was going to put some whip lights on here, but the plastic tubing I ordered didn't show up yet. It hasn't even shipped yet, so I don't know when I'm getting that. I'm just trying to find the right stuff to kind of make a whip back here. I bought some tubing, like regular, like 1/4-inch tubing from like Home Depot and stuff, and it's just not right. It's not really what I want. But we'll see. It's nice and flexible, so maybe. But I think that's it for this. I'm going to try to get some footage on this thing. Not sure how well it's going to be, or I might not even be able to get much because right now it's snowing. So there'll be a little bit of footage, but probably not a lot. It depends on how snowy it is, how cold it is, and the locations I go to. Some of them are kind of higher elevation. So well, let me go test, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back from testing. Not a lot of footage because my hands were absolutely freezing in this 35-degree weather. I went out enough to realize that it got better, and I like the Fusion a lot. It is a game changer as far as speed, because that extra 500 kV definitely helps out trailing around, messing around in the leaves and the dirt, playing around on the way to the rocks. But also when I get to the rocks, I need to kind of gun it up and over an obstacle. It was there, like this. I could pop right up and over if I was kind of high sanded or something like that. It did good. Still fine control because it's that Hobbywing FOC technology kind of smoothness. So I didn't the extra kV didn't really mess with me too much. I was fine. 8.4 volts was definitely helpful on that servo. Power wise, it was definitely a little bit better, but the speed of just turning was nicer. It was not as slow. I still might eventually take out the servo and swap it out. You can kind of see it struggling a little bit with a little bit more weight and the stickier tires and everything. I don't know. It works okay. It works fine. It's one of the last things I'll probably swap out, I think, because it works good enough for me. Now on to the tires and wheels. Not a big difference, honestly. I'm going to keep them on because I like the look of them. The stock ones I think almost did better in this colder weather, tire wise. These did good, and you can see the bulge there. The inserts are definitely soft enough, and I could see it gripping up on top of rocks. But I feel like these were a little bit harder because of that carcass. It's 2.5 millimeters thick, whereas I think the stock ones are like a 1.5 millimeters thick or so. So I think I'm going to keep these in, and then when summer comes around, at that point, I will make a determination because I think that in the summer these will do really good. They'll soften up because I noticed in here these are pretty soft. They feel good, but then as soon as I was outside, like I said, that 35-degree weather, these were getting a little harder, and I was noticing it on my other 1/10 trucks too. That the green compound in the colder weather is, it likes the cold weather enough to work, but you can tell the difference in thickness and the hardness and everything in these tires. Let me tell you. But the other tires, I think maybe I'll just, like I said, in the summer, maybe I'll just swap back and forth because I just like the look of these too. Maybe I'll put those tires on these wheels and use these tires for something else. Maybe I'll get an STX6, right? That's the only thing that makes sense. If I don't use them on here, I'll need to buy a new truck. That's how I'll explain it to my wife, at least. Weight hangers definitely helped. I could tell that they was trying to keep that front end down. The servo for the selectable underdrive, no problem at all with that micro servo. I did end up making a adapter. I will put it up on Maker World hopefully by the time this is up. I am not 100% sure. Just trying to finish this up and a couple other things, and then I'll upload that. The sliders are up on Maker World. I did break this one. That was my fault though. I got stuck between a rock and a tree really hard, and this tire completely kind of twisted the truck to the side, and it hit the rock and broke it right off. So, but I mean, you can see it was taking you can see it took a bunch of scuffs before that broke. But that was literally, when they say between a rock and a hard place, I literally was between a rock and a tree, and it just snapped it from that pressure from this tire moving everything. So I'll be reprinting it. I might go an extra couple walls and see. I'm not really sure. I don't want to make them too heavy. Don't want to make them too crazy. So I don't know. The front pin never broke once. This thing has been flopped multiple times. You can see all the scratches here. Not one problem did I have with that, and it was nice to not have them out on the. It was nice to not have them out on the top. It just looks a little better. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I don't think we did anything else, correct? Oh boy, now I don't remember. It's been a minute. The other thing I did notice when I was out there, I totally forgot to look at the shocks. Right there, and I didn't think about it until I was out on the rocks, and I was like, well, it's too late now. I'm gonna go have fun and run the truck. So there's gonna be another video on this anyways, because I really want to change out those shocks. I really want to change out the shock fluid like I was just talking about. Kind of wish I'd done it before. Totally spaced it. I also think I want to put an RC6GS radio link on this instead of the stock remote. I'm just so used to the radio link. This wasn't bad. It's not horrible. But I kind of want selectable underdrive to be on a button up here, maybe down in here on one of them, instead of having to use a second hand. Because obviously doing this stuff and just in general, I will one hand a lot of my RCing. I'm already doing this. Then I can click one of the two buttons here to do selectable underdrive. I don't turn lights on and off. This switch has been forward this whole time since I've owned it. The only time I've ever flicked it back and forth is right now. And when I talked about it, I think in the first video, to show you guys that it moved. Other than that, I just leave lights on. I don't turn them off. Even the rock lights are on every time. I just don't turn them off. So I don't care if the lights are on. It's not a problem at all. If I really want to, I'll throw a switch on there and put it on a different button, but I probably won't. I also want to be able to adjust the endpoints on the selectable underdrive, because right now it goes one way, it goes the other way. It's either here or there, and that's it. The Servo Saver does all the work as far as endpoints, and I just don't care for that much. I really want to do actual endpoints on it. It works fine, but I don't like it. That's just me, I guess. I mean, I'm going to swap out to the RC6GS. I'm pretty much a definite on that. So look forward to another video for that. There's a couple other things I'm working on as far as 3D printed parts, some diff sliding type stuff and everything. I want to make some internal parts as far as like holding parts. I did make a adapter. I think I might have already said that, but I forgot. I made an adapter to put the micro inside of the mini spot for the selectable underdrive. That'll be up on Maker World. Again, might be repeating myself, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe swap out the servo. Not sure. It works fine, but you can kind of tell with the extra weight in the tires and stuff. It was definitely getting a little overwhelmed. Speed-wise, is not bad. It wasn't bad, especially stock. It wasn't bad. So, yeah, you can see that big old chunk taken out of there. But this one, perfectly fine. Oh, the other thing I want to do too is when I do the shocks, I want to play around with the shock positions. But I've been kind of just trying to do. I don't want to do 1,000 things at once. So I kind of wanted to get a feel for, what's been changed and what changed, what's helped what. Yeah, if you have any comments, questions, feedback, throw them down below. It's a fun truck. The size of it just makes it so fun to trail, so fun to crawl, trying to find lines. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I will see you on the next one. Have a good day.